On this episode of MythBusters,
Oh, God, it looks like a murder scene here.
Adam and Jamie take on two common cold conundrums.
You'll get cleaned up.
First, they test their limits, finding out if you sneeze at 100 miles per hour
Whoa, that is nasty.
and over 30 feet.
Oh, it's happening.
Then they investigate if someone else's runny nose
That's funny.
will eventually catch up to you. Meanwhile, Cat and Tori
It put a big gasp, but it didn't cut his head off.
put their necks on the line
Holy mackerel, look at that tornado.
to find out if a tornado can turn glass into a guillotine.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Tornado! Tornado!
Who are the MythBusters? Whoa! Adam Savage
Explosives are funny creatures.
and Jamie Heineman.
Well, there's your problem.
Between them, more than 3 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Carrie Byron,
Right tool for the job.
Tori Belleci,
We only have one shot at this.
Grant Imahara.
That was a great result.
They don't just tell the myths, put them to the test.
So what do you think? Are we ever going to run out of myths?
No way, dude. We are still finding great material from the most common sources imaginable.
Like what?
The common cold, specifically the sneeze, which supposedly leaves your mouth at 100 miles an hour and can travel up to 30 feet, spreading your germs. I think both of those are claims we could put to the test.
And sneezing's not the only thing you have to worry about. I mean, if you've got a cold, you touch your face, and you touch something else, and before you know it, you got nasal secretions all over the place.
Meaning you could supposedly catch a cold from someone without having any physical contact with them whatsoever. Common cold myths, let's do it.
Okay?
Achoo!
That's 2 feverish fables to tackle. First up, the physics of a sneeze. Does snot really rocket at speeds of 100 miles per hour and spread disease over 30 feet?
Let's start with the sneeze. How do you want to tackle it?
That one's pretty straightforward to me. I mean, a sneeze is supposed to travel at 100 miles an hour. Let's test it by firing up the high-speed camera and using a little math.
What about distance?
Distance is a little tougher. I mean, we're gonna have to be tracking what have to be freaking tiny droplets of liquid up to 30 feet away.
I've got some ideas about that. You worry about inducing a sneeze, and I'll worry about measuring it.
Fair enough, all right.
According to public safety announcements through the ages, the power of the sneeze is potent.
Remember, sneezes can travel at over 100 miles per hour and spread contagion over 30 feet.
But are those formidable figures really true? To find out, first they'll clock the speed of a sneeze on a high-speed camera and then track its distance. So for that, Adam creates a sneeze shooting range.
Oh, hey, check it out.
Wow, I think that's the biggest and fanciest gauge we've made.
Yep, well, 30 feet, supposed distance that a sneeze can travel.
Looks like it ought to be up to snuff.
And speaking of snuff, Adam's got just the stuff.
How are we gonna sneeze? Well, if you remember the sneezing with your eyes open episode, it's actually caused us some real difficulty. However, we have found a foolproof method for this episode, and that is tobacco snuff.
The snuff will work to irritate the mucosa at the back of Adam's nose, which will bring on a semi-autonomous convulsive expulsion of air from the lungs through the nose and mouth. Or a sneeze.
A little snuff for science. There we go. And another one. No! For good measure. Woo! Achoo! Oh, that is nasty.
Nasty and captured by the high-speed camera at a stomach-churning 3,000 frames per second.
And that stuff's made to snort, huh?
It is. I have no idea why anyone would do it recreationally.
Well, let's see how fast it went.
Okay.
By counting the number of frames it takes a snot droplet to travel 1 foot, they work out the speed of Adam's sneeze.
Oh, wow. You know what? Watching it go backwards is really pretty sickening. Okay. 51 feet per second times 0.68 equals 35 miles per hour. That's not 100 miles an hour.
That's nowhere close to 100 miles an hour. I should have a go.
All right. Watch for the stash.
35 miles per hour is certainly not the mythical 100. So Jamie steps up. Once again, the snuff squeezes a sneeze, but will it be faster?
Oh, look at that stash. Like Indiana farmland in the breeze, isn't it?
Getting quite poetic here, aren't we?
Well, this is the subject matter. 57 feet per second times 0.68 equals 39 miles per hour.
Still nowhere near 100, huh?
No, you busted out. You beat me in the speed department, but it's nowhere close to the myth. Well, apparently I sneeze at 35 miles per hour and the Heinemann sneezes at 39 miles per hour. Neither of those is remotely close to 100 miles an hour. So that myth, I think, is pretty busted. Now we're on to distance. Does a sneeze really travel 30 feet? And I think Mr. Heinemann already has some ideas about how to track that.
When Adam sneezes, we need to see how far the stuff that comes out of his nose travels. And so to do that, I'm gonna add this cherry-flavored red kids drink mix to the snuff that he inhales. And when he sneezes, hopefully we'll see little red dots on this lovely strip of white paper.
This time, Adam's sneeze should leave a telltale trail of cherry-colored tracks.
Oh. Oh, it's irritating and sweet and fruity. Oh, it's happening. Achoo!
Gesundheit. And now to check the distance.
I don't see any red flecks.
Unfortunately, Adam's fruity sneeze hasn't left a mark. But as always, there's a solution.
We have a new plan. The new plan is rather than snort any more colored things, I'm going to go back to the snuff, but just before I sneeze, I'm going to spray some uncut food dye into my mouth. Yeah, that ought to show up.
Adam takes a snort of snuff and a swig of food coloring.
Oh, God, it looks like a murder scene here. Ah.
That time around, the sneeze went quite literally with flying colors.
Ah. We got one out here at 17 feet. That's not bad.
No, you're halfway there, over halfway. But I think that's about it.
You think that's about it?
Yeah.
I think I need to then try again. We're making modern art as well as some science.
Adam can't leave it at 17 feet. He's going for a second distance attempt, but this time in a less gory blue.
Nice. You're getting a good spread, but you need to work on your distance.
Okay, coach. Well, I'm clearly hitting a hard line at 17 feet. You want to see if you can do better?
With Adam not even reaching 60% of the mythical distance, Jamie's next up for the sneeze gallery, and he'll be sneezing in green.
I think that's all I got.
All right, why don't you go get cleaned up?
Unfortunately, Captain Greenbeard's sneeze also didn't go the distance. And you can't help thinking it has something to do with his mustache.
Nope, looks like Jamie maxed out right here at 13 feet.
I got 13 feet of travel out of my sneeze, and Adam got 17 feet. It's not 30, but it's an awful long ways.
So where does that leave the mythical sneeze?
The myth says that a sneeze can travel up to 30 feet And our sneezes didn't get anywhere close to that. They got to 17 feet and stopped.
It's still pretty far, but I guess that means...
It's busted.
Yeah.
Next up, a myth that could be a storm in a teacup.
Our next myth is about tornadoes, and it comes directly from the fan site.
What do we got?
All right, so the myth is that during a tornado, glass can get sucked out of a window and travel so fast that if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you get your head cut clean off.
Like a flying guillotine?
Exactly.
This is perfect. Fast-flying glass, decapitation. This sounds right up our alley.
Tornado alley, that is. Where are these freaking crickets?
When the tornado alert goes out, the safest place to take shelter is inside a storm cellar. With winds over 200 miles an hour, everyday items can be quickly transformed into lethal projectiles. But could glass whipped up by these winds really turn into a guillotine?
Okay, so what's the plan?
Well, I think first we have to create a human analog neck.
All right, well, why don't we get a pig spine? We'll keep the muscle on it, and then we'll wrap it with its own skin. It'll be just like a human neck. And then we can just take pieces of glass and start throwing them at it.
Well, I guess we gotta start somewhere.
Cool.
Yep, you heard that right. They're going to start by throwing glass at tornado speeds. But that's not as impossible as it sounds.
Now, when you think of tornadoes, you probably think of houses flying through the air, Kansas farm girls and their dogs blowing away. Now, that would be like a Force 4 tornado, up to 200-mile-an-hour winds. But I think you'd be surprised to know how slow tornado winds can actually be. A Force 0 tornado has winds at like 40 miles an hour. Now, that could be comparable to what we could fling our glass at.
Now, in order to test this myth accurately, we need a very human-like neck, because we're not going to be able to use a real human. What I have here is an MRI of a human neck. As you can see, there's skin, trachea, vertebrae, muscle surrounding all of it, and more skin. Now, normally, if we were gonna make a human neck, we would just take a pig spine and cover it in ballistics gel. This time, we're gonna make it way more human-like. She's gonna love this.
Viewers and pigs of a nervous disposition may want to look away now.
Oh, seriously?
This is perfect. Look at this. It's an entire pig's vertebrae with the skin and muscle still intact. I mean, it's practically a neck already.
True enough, but it does need a little surgery. Tori first removes the ribs.
You're gonna clean the saw when you're done, right?
Then the lumbar vertebrae.
Yeah, that's better.
He next trims away the fat.
That's the juice. Here, Carrie. Save that piece for you.
But he does keep the length. After all, a longer neck makes for a bigger target.
All right, the neck's done.
Then it's Carrie's turn to add the outer layer of skin.
Awesome. Ah, yeah. God.
Now, Carrie didn't have to make this neck. I mean, I could have made it easily. However, Carrie has done a lot of mean things in the past. I mean, she's made us jump into the shark-infested waters.
This sucks. This sucks so bad.
She made us eat hot chilies. She made us drink until we got a hangover. I think I'm never gonna drink again. So let's face it, it's payback time. Payback sucks, doesn't it?
Once Carrie's all sewn up and an 8-pound human-like head is crowned, Neckman is good to go. So, what's the plan?
So our plan is pretty simple. We're gonna take turns flinging panes of glass at Neckman. And this is the glass. It measures 12 inches by 12 inches by 1/8 inch thick. But most importantly, it conforms to the residential building code of houses that are actually in Tornado Alley. Given how sharp this edge is, I think there's a very real possibility that we could sever a neck at throwing speed.
Provided, of course, that they hit it. Starting with Carrie.
Now, I don't know how Carrie's gonna do, but let's just say I've seen her throw before, and I think probably the safest place is gonna be right next to the neck. Sorry, Carrie.
You could say that the team is that glass half empty kind of feeling. With Carrie's backhand misfiring, she switches stance, but gets the same result.
How much glass do we have? Are we gonna need to order some more glass?
The problem here is not just accuracy, it's also speed. Maxing out at a disappointing 30 miles an hour means Carrie's not even reaching a force 0 tornado. Next to step up to the plate glass, it's Grant.
All right, everybody, take cover. Grant's throwing. Ah! I guess you can have a worse shot.
You guys okay? Everybody okay?
Although the accuracy is abysmal, the speed at 50 miles an hour was solid. Now, if he can just get focused.
Whoa, nice shot.
Yeah, nice shot. Still not enough to cut the head off.
It may indeed have been a giant pain in the neck, but a decapitation at 50 miles an hour, it wasn't. So last up to put his neck on the line is Tori.
Now, I like carrying Grant's technique. However, my approach, I'm gonna throw out accuracy. And I'm gonna focus on speed. I'm gonna throw this piece of glass as fast as I can throw it. And if it hits the neck, it hits the neck. Hopefully, if I get it going fast enough, and I do hit that neck, we'll see a decapitation.
Foregoing accuracy for speed may seem foolhardy, but on take one,
Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Good shot. Correct shot.
That was great.
Tori nails the perfect shot, but the high speed reveals a very imperfect result.
Look at that, you got 68 miles an hour.
And it hit right on the neck. But look at it, the glass just completely shatters. I mean, it was going fast, and we hit it, but it didn't cut the head off.
The Force 1 tornado pane hits dead center, but it's the glass that gives way and not the neck. Meaning with this glass, decapitation is impossible.
As you can see from all the carnage around me, we threw a lot of glass at this creepy dude here. But we did not achieve a decapitation. Now, I think this is for a few reasons. First of all, after looking at the high speed, doing a couple of calculations, it looks like we were throwing the glass at the bottom of the tornado scale, just not fast enough. Secondly, when the glass actually was hitting the guy, it was shattering too easily. So, we're gonna need thicker, stronger glass, and we're gonna need to throw it a lot faster, which means we gotta build a machine.
Stand back, because it's time for some mucus mayhem.
Nasal secretions. The myth that someone who's got a cold is spreading their secretions everywhere, far and wide, and that they're impossible to avoid.
Well, the first thing we need to do is to figure out how to make nasal secretions we can track.
And we need a situation we can track them in.
Okay, well, I guess I need to go talk to an expert about nasal secretions.
I guess you do.
According to the myth, just by being near someone with a runny nose, you'll end up contaminated by their snotty secretions. But can a running nose really scatter snot on more than just its owner? To test that, they'll need a group of party people, a nose running rig, and a nasal secretion substitute. But before they start spreading the snot, Jamie needs to know just how much a running nose really runs.
Come in.
Hello, Doctor.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too.
Luckily, Dr. Andrea Young is just the person to ask.
So what would you consider a normal rate of flow when you have a cold?
If you think about your sinuses just in general, in terms of the amount of fluid that you could potentially hold, we would expect that that volume would be somewhere in the order of about 60 cc's or 60 milliliters to come out in about an hour.
And how exactly does that 60 mils transfer its viral payload?
Secretions kind of get passed to the hand. That hand then goes into your mouth, into your nose, or into your conjunctiva, or sort of the lining of the eyes, and then again gets brought into your system.
It's exactly that spread that the MythBusters will test. And now Jamie knows how a nose runs.
Now that I have my flow rate, I can build a nasal drip rig to simulate a runny nose. It has to be compact, it has to be very accurate, and I have to be able to conceal it. And there we are, it's doing it by itself.
Just a syringe and some tubing later, and Jamie has a dribbling drip rig. Now all he needs is a willing volunteer to give it a dry run.
You look totally like you've got a cold just from your mannerisms. You know, like, I don't feel good.
It feels like I've got a cold. It's just as annoying.
Makes me feel like I want to stand apart from you so I don't catch it.
You don't want to get to the red dye. That's what you don't want.
That's funny.
We're about to investigate how far and wide my nasal secretions may travel if I had a cold. Now, I don't have a cold. We're going to achieve my cold by Jamie giving me a mechanical cold, which is a drip rig that will be strapped to my face and slowly dripping a fluorescing fluid.
Jamie has carefully selected a non-toxic fluorescent dye that's invisible to the naked eye, but will glow orange under a black light. To ensure there is no cross-contamination, he first checks the table.
Okay, the space is clean, and I don't see any marks on you. I think we're good to go.
Then Jamie starts the nasal drip and leaves Adam to some modeling.
I'm ready to start constructing. I'll start the timer now.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Remember, they're testing to see if Adam's pseudo-snot will spread far and wide. And after an hour of building, gluing, and wiping, 60 milliliters of fluid has dripped through the nose ring.
Okay, so time's up. We get to see how far your nasal secretions went.
Excellent. All right, let's do it. Da, da, da. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is, wait, look at my face. That's disgusting. Am I like just covered with it?
You are.
The table, the plane, and Adam are lit up like a dance party with a trail of snot or neon dye on everything Adam has touched.
Well, we set out to construct an experiment whereby we could track my nasal secretions, and I have to say, I think we've done stunningly. They seem to have gotten absolutely everywhere. Everything on this table has a little touch of orange on it. That's the name of my cover band, Touch of Orange.
Obviously, Adam's pseudo-snot got everywhere, which is amazing given that it was coming out a tiny droplet at a time. But what does this mean as far as transmitting a cold virus or a flu? Well, to find that out, we've got to introduce people. And so that's what we're going to do next.
Yep, next, the MythBusters will track the spread of snot by partying in the name of science. In a perfect storm of circumstance, could a tornado turn glass into a guillotine? So far.
Okay, so we're struggling with decapitation big time.
Yeah, I mean, throwing a piece of glass accurately, even at low speeds, is very difficult, and the pieces of glass keep shattering.
Whoa! And it's only gonna get harder as we ramp up the speed, something we actually have to do.
All right, well, what if we try this? What if we take our head and neck, put it on the runway, and then we attach a sheet of glass to a vehicle horizontally, drive at the neck, and then release the glass before it hits the neck?
Yes, and if we drive as fast as we can, like 80 miles per hour, and get a bigger sheet of glass, that extra mass plus that speed should equal an impact at over 300 miles an hour.
I love it, let's do it.
So at the Alameda runway, the team's foregoing the throwing to tackle this myth head on.
You guys ready to see if we can make a tornado?
Let's do it.
But how will a car going at 80 miles per hour represent a 300-mile-an-hour tornado?
Now, the name of this game is kinetic energy. And we can't possibly drive at extreme tornado speed, but what we can do is simulate the kinetic energy of a smaller piece of glass flying at those speeds. Using this giant piece of glass. This has a lot more mass. Now, this piece, traveling at only 80 miles per hour, has the same kinetic energy as our smaller piece, traveling at over 300 miles per hour. I call that extreme tornado speed.
Grant's right, and it's over to Carrie to explain why.
Tori's 450-gram pane of glass flung at 70 miles an hour had a kinetic energy of around 220 joules. If that glass had been traveling at an F5 tornado speed of 300 miles an hour, it would have had the energy of over 4,000 joules. Now, because the truck can only drive 80 miles an hour, to get a 4,000 joule hit, you need a heavier piece of glass. So how heavy? 6.5 kilograms. But will that cause a decapitation?
That's one big piece of Tornado Alley code glass. And to put it to work, Tori's built a rig that looks just as lethal as it is.
So this is the Super Tornado Decapitation Rig. So I built this steel structure that we've attached to the truck. On the end of it is a piece of glass being held oh so gently by these foam blocks. When we hit the neck, the styrofoam will break and the glass will act as if it's flying through the air. Now what I need to do is drive towards our neck man as fast as I can and hit that neck so that when we hit that neck, this piece of glass will break away from the truck, hopefully decapitating our man and confirming this myth.
And talking of neck man,
What do you think?
Hey, you guys over here!
Wake up! Wake up! Got the quality merchandise right here.
Buy this
right
pig!
here.
You want some neck heads?
We got the freshest neck heads out here.
careful viewers will notice not just that neck man has turned white, but also that he's slimmed down.
All right, so the last neck man we had ended up spoiling, so we had to make a new one. But this one is actually better. This time I made it a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, so that way it is closer to the size of a human's neck. We still have the skin, we still have the muscle, and we still have the bone. This is a very precise human analog.
With Neckman's neck on the line,
Holy mackerel! Look at that tornado!
some travel cones to mark out Tori's route,
Oh, hello, children. I'm Mr. Safety. I'm here to keep Tori from getting off track.
and an albeit brief truck naming ceremony.
Capitruck.
It's all systems go.
We're ready to start the experiment. We have our pork neck in place. As gruesome as it is, Tori is going to be in the truck with a giant 2x4-foot pane of glass attached to the side. Grant and I are going to be at a safe distance monitoring the results, and we're going to see if high speed and a giant piece of glass can decapitate our pork neck.
Okay, Tori Belachi, are you ready?
I am
In position and ready to go.
You ready?
Ready?
Okay, this is Neckman versus the large piece of glass in 3, 2, 1.
Not wanting the glass to slip loose, Tori gently accelerates up to 80 miles an hour.
Here it comes.
the tornado!
That's what I was gonna say.
Now is the time I feel compelled to yell, duck!
Whoa! Wow, that was almost no hesitation whatsoever.
That was gruesome. I mean, there was no resistance. The head just came off.
All right, let's check it out.
That was incredible. All I heard was the foot, and I looked back and I saw his head on the ground.
But hey, the rig worked.
Yeah.
It's mission accomplished. A nasty decapitation on the very first run as the glass cuts clean through. But in a MythBusters first, next step is to ramp the results down.
Now, I can't say that I'm surprised by this, because that amount of energy contained in that glass traveling that fast would be like a super tornado, an incredible tornado, a 300-mile-per-hour plus wind speed tornado. And the thing is, you don't have those kinds of tornadoes every day. So what we're gonna do next is actually go at a slower speed, try the same experiment, this time simulating a more average tornado, and see what we get.
So they're going to rerun this test at 40 miles an hour. And thanks to the marvel of math, we know that the heavy glass going at 40 has the same energy as its smaller counterpart traveling at 150 miles an hour. A high force 2 tornado. But will that be high enough? To find out, Neckman's cousin, Collar Boy, gets his moment in the sun.
You ready?
Ready?
Tori Belachi, are you ready to go at 40 miles per hour?
I am in position, ready to go.
Okay, this is Neckman versus the big piece of glass at 40 miles per hour. Take it away.
Tornado!
Tornado!
Yep, look out, Collar Boy. There's a storm a-coming.
Whoa, what was that?
Wow, look at the trail of destruction.
Oh, we got decapitation, and the glass broke away.
At first glance, it seems like we've reached myth confirmed as head and neck part company. But the high speed tells a different story. It seems that the hair trigger on the glass didn't work cleanly, and that means that some of the car's own momentum may have affected the outcome. For this team of perfectionists, it's just not good enough.
So at this point, we've pretty much confirmed our myth. A pane of glass flying at tornado wind speeds can decapitate someone. We tried flying our pane of glass down the runway at high, extreme tornado wind speed. Got a cool, clean decapitation. Amazing. Then we tried halving that speed at moderate tornado wind speeds, still got a decapitation and shattered all our glass. But we're really bothered by the fact that the glass is not totally dislodging, and I'm thinking that maybe we're getting some extra mass, some extra force, some extra momentum from the truck being attached to that glass. So the next obvious mythbustery step, well, we're gonna go build a robot in the shop.
Yep, they're following that old MythBusters mantra. If in doubt, build a robot. If someone nearby has a runny nose, can they spread their snot to you just by being close? To find out, the MythBusters are throwing a party.
Soon, I will have 6 guests, or as I like to call them, test subjects, having a party with me under test conditions. These conditions are: 3 of my guests are going to behave as germaphobes. 3 of my guests have no idea what's happening. I will be spreading my nasal secretions far and wide while performing a series of normal party-like tasks: cake, toasts, games, what have you. At the end of all of this, we're gonna flick out the lights, turn on the ultraviolet lights, and see how far I've been able to spread my secretions. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get into makeup.
So as not to reveal what's being tested to our guest guinea pigs, special effects artist Danny gives Adam a nose job.
Oh, it's just a little bit restrictive, but not bad. Hell of a lot better than the Band-Aid.
With Adam in the chair, Jamie prepares our 3 germaphobe guests.
Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
So this is how this is gonna work. Adam has a cold, and your job is not to get that cold. You still have to stay here, you can't just leave, but you don't wanna catch his cold.
All right, sounds good.
Gross.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori will try their germaphobe best not to pick up Adam's nasal secretions. However, the control group, the remaining 3 guests, will have no idea Adam is even secreting.
Hello, Pearl, nice to meet you.
Adam just wiped his nose, and now he's shaking hands. That stuff's getting everywhere.
While Jamie tracks the contamination, Adam's rig will drip at exactly the rate a human nose runs, 60 milliliters an hour.
Oh, we're gonna have a fun little party here. Are you guys ready? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a stuffy nose, but this should all be very cool. We're gonna have some cake, we're gonna have a couple of games, and little, well, not actual champagne, but some bubbly.
Remember, the goal is to find out if Adam will pass on his pseudo-secretions to his guests through the normal activity of a party.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for participating in my little science experiment here.
True sport.
And just like any host with a runny nose, Adam's using a handkerchief.
Cake, yes?
Yeah.
You want a big slice or a little slice?
But it soon becomes clear that the same hand he uses to wipe his nose is also passing everything to his guests.
So we're getting some good contact here. We've got him handling the plates, the forks, those are being passed over. With any luck, each one of those has been marked.
Although our trio of germaphobes keep an eye on exactly what Adam's touching, the unprepared guests have no idea what's being passed around.
Okay, it looks like as he's pouring, he's touching them on the shoulder, so each one of those is a mark.
There ain't no party like a MythBusters party.
That's a good roll.
And although the good times and the dice roll,
I definitely lost.
eventually the fun must come to an end.
Thanks again.
Tori.
Celebrating with you.
Thank you so much for coming. Really?
But of course, our test subjects are still in the dark. And the moment has come for the big, snotty reveal.
What was going on was that I had a mechanical runny nose. I had a little tube running down the side of my nose, dripping a fluorescing fluid. The goal was to see how far my nasal secretions might travel if I had a cold and who might get those on them. To give you an idea about how much it spread on me alone, normally my skin would not fluoresce under black light. Are you ready? Oh, yeah.
Adam may look like a radioactive clown, but has he spread his radioactive red snot? First off, the unknowing guest guinea pigs.
Leah, let's see those hands. Hold them up into the light. Oh, yeah.
They all bear the telltale signs of contamination. But what about our germaphobe trio? Despite their best efforts, Grant and Tori couldn't escape the needle.
Grant, let's see those
I
hands.
couldn't avoid shaking your hand.
Tori? Oh, Tori. You got it.
Did we sneak off somewhere?
Tori has even ended up with snot on his face. Carrie, however, is a different story.
I have to confess, I'm actually a germaphobe, so this was not too hard for me, and I am not surprised I did this well.
Nice. Wow, incredible. So how many of us got colds?
I'd say 5 out of the 6 of you have been legitimately exposed with only a 30-minute dinner party and 1 typhoid Mary.
So even though I knew Adam had a fake cold, I was still kind of grossed out by the idea. So I kind of employed all of my usual techniques not to get sick. I didn't touch anything or anywhere that he touched. When he handed me something, I wiped it off with my napkin.
Practiced hygiene fiend Carrie managed to avoid contact. But for her colleagues, social convention made it a lot harder.
He's trying to be this gracious host, and he's filling up my glass, he's handing me pretzels, and I'm trying to be polite and avoid anything that he's touching. But I mean, at a certain point, you can't help it anymore.
Right at the very end of dinner, as we were saying our goodbyes, Adam stuck out his hand, and I had to shake it. And you know what? If someone sticks out their hand, you can't avoid shaking it. And that is where he got me.
With 5 out of 6 guests infected and a dinner table that's more neon than not, where does this leave the myth?
It's really impressive to me that viruses have found the one place on the human body not only capable of producing enough fluid, but doing it in such a way that human hands are inclined to mop that fluid up. And then they can spread themselves and propagate really quickly.
Look around me. Look at how far and wide my secretions have spread to everywhere on this table. Next time you think you've got an innocuous runny nose, think again.
Think again, indeed. But that isn't the end of this snot-spreading saga. When a tornado hits, chances are it's going to do a lot more than ruffle your nerves.
Now, to simulate a tornado, we first started by throwing panes of glass by hand with little success of decapitation. Then we moved on to a giant piece of glass strapped to the side of a car and drove at high speeds into a neck, and we got a decapitation, but we think the momentum of the car added too much to the kinetic energy, really loading the deck on this myth. So now we want some realistic circumstances. We want a small piece of glass flying at moderate tornado speeds to see if even that will get us a decapitation.
So how exactly are we going to accelerate a piece of glass very quickly? Well, the first step is to take a bunch of these caster wheels and flip them upside down like this, so that we have a low-friction surface to slide our glass on. It's like a little conveyor belt for potentially deadly glass. At the end of this line, these 2 tires go on an axle, which is connected to an electric motor. Yeah, that ought to do it. That's going to spin at really high speed. Now, a second set of wheels is going to go on top, and that's going to form a sandwich. You're going to love this. So that when the sheet of glass comes in, the wheels are going to catch it and send it out at tornado speed.
Now, we're hoping that this machine is going to actually help us with our speed and accuracy. But like most of Grant's truly intimidating-looking rigs, we don't know what it's going to do until we do a few tests. So we're going to throw some glass in, see exactly how fast it's going, and make sure it's all going in the right place.
And that glass is going to be twice as thick and twice as heavy as the glass the guys first threw.
All right, calibration test, full power.
That's right, full power.
Let's see how fast this glass flies.
Do it.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Full power.
And go! Woohoo!
Yes.
Maybe too much power.
Instead of throwing the glass, the machine smashed it to smithereens.
Shoot.
That was awesome.
But a quick nip and tuck, and it's good for take 2.
3, 2, 1. Go,
Yeah,
All right, let's see how fast that one went.
Scary.
I know a test goes well when I'm terrified.
The machine worked like a charm, flinging a window wannabe at 70 miles per hour. And that means it's Neckman's curtain call.
Chin up, buddy. It's very important. Keep your chin up for this one.
After several tests with our pain in the neck rig, we think we have it dialed in. We have 70 miles an hour and a perfectly flat flight pattern. So now we're gonna bring in the neck and see if we have a decapitation.
All right, this is tornado decapitation. 1/4-inch sheet of glass. Neckman is in position. Motor is full power. We are going for tornado speed.
I'm ready for the next test.
Okay, tornado speed in 3, 2, 1.
Wait.
A direct hit, and Neckman's head's gone AWOL. But it's not all good news.
I know what you're thinking. It worked. You decapitated him with a piece of glass. Actually, we looked at the high speed, and what really happened was the glass hit him right here in the mouth, and it just ripped his head off the neck. There was no cutting through skin, no cutting through muscle, no cutting through bone. This was not a decapitation. So we need to get a new head, reset, and try it again.
A new head? How about this one?
Neckman in position. You guys ready?
Ready.
All right, fire it up.
This time, Neckman's painfully down for the count, but a decapitation, this ain't. So far, the robot is 0 for 2, a record that then takes a turn for the worse, with near misses.
That was so fast, I have no idea what just happened.
And not so near misses.
Man,
I wonder if it's possible to decapitate a guy with glass.
I don't know.
With the final Neckman in the firing line, it really is now or never.
You ready to get your head cut off?
You ready?
Ready.
Ready? All right, fire it up. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I think we've got decapitation.
That is unquestionable.
We did it. We confirmed this myth. We got decapitation. It's incredible to think that a small piece of glass with hardly any mass at all, going only 70 miles an hour, which is a mild tornado, is enough to cut your head off. I mean, that's enough to cut through bone, through flesh, and skin. A little creepy. This one's still confirmed.
Now, this is a perfect conclusion for us. We have a piece of glass flying at a low tornado speed in the air on its own merit and decapitates our head completely off and cleanly. That shows us right there, confirmed, confirmed, confirmed.
Yep, this all goes to show the danger of flying debris during a tornado. For safety, taking shelter in a storm cellar really is a no-brainer. Adam and Jamie have proved a runny nose will eventually catch up to you.
So what did we learn from that test? We learned that if you're around someone who's infected and you're not expending any energy to keep their germs from getting on you, you're gonna get their germs on you. And for our germaphobes, the situation wasn't much prettier. 2 out of our 3 germaphobes were covered with this stuff. Where does that leave us? Well, we wondered, suppose the person who's spreading the germs is acting more responsibly. Suppose they're trying to keep others from being infected. That's what we're gonna test next. We've set up this whole space again, totally clean. I haven't touched anything here. I will have the same drip rig going on, dripping at the same rate, except I'm going to be trying to keep my germs from spreading to any parts of this table and any of my guests. Let's see how I do.
So the MythBusters will repeat the nasal secretions test.
Hello. 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 Good to see you.
With two vital differences. Adam will do everything he can not to spread his pseudo-snot. And we've got a new set of blissfully unaware test subjects.
But I gotta warn you, I've got a little bit of a cold, so let's do elbow greet. How are you? How are you?
But will modifying his behavior decrease the chances of contamination?
He's not shaking hands, he's bumping elbows.
Jasmine?
Despite the fact that his nose is still dripping at 60 mils per hour, Adam is doing all he can to limit his hand-to-hand contact with his guests.
This is going to be really hard for Adam. Even though he knows he's supposed to reduce the amount of spread, he's going to have a hard time.
And Tori, if you would take this and hand out a sheet to everybody. Dana, if you would pass these pens to your right, let me make sure everyone gets a pen. We're gonna play a game called Dictionary.
But as well as avoiding direct contact with his guests, Adam's also avoiding indirect contact by enlisting their help.
Dana, will you hand out the glasses for me, please?
At this point, it looks like he's doing pretty well because the only thing that's actually been passed around person to person has been the paper notes. The glasses, the bottle, even meeting everybody in the beginning didn't involve any kind of contact at all.
And once again, the 30 minutes seems to fly by until it's time to bring in the bouncer.
All right then, so everybody's had some cake, some champagne, you played a couple games, lovely party. Time to call it quits.
Jamie says it's time to go, it's time to go.
Wow, what
God,
a buzz.
right?
That's it.
Dad's home. We have to go.
All right, really a pleasure to see you. Jasmine, elbow, elbow, excellent.
As fond farewells go, the elbow bump is unconventional, but it does prevent Adam from secreting onto his guests.
I love you
Gentle,
guys. Let me
please.
fight on that show.
And with that, the test is over. But has Adam kept his snot to himself?
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see your hands. You're clean. You're clean?
Well, the result is spelled out in no neon light.
Clean. Clean. Good job, Adam.
In stark contrast to the previous test, amazingly, Adam has not infected a single guest.
Now, the first test, Adam was touching every single thing on the table. And as a result, everybody got sick except for Carrie. But on the second test, it was obvious he changed his behavior and he was trying not to touch anything. And as a result of that test, nobody got infected.
I gotta say, that was totally amazing. Just by a simple change of technique, you can prevent everyone at the party from getting sick.
Let's recap. The myth that if you're sick, your nasal secretions will go everywhere.
Confirmed.
And the ability as an innocent bystander for one to avoid those secretions.
Not impossible, but very difficult.
So what have we concluded is the best way to prevent the spread?
Well, if you're sick, you need to take some personal responsibility.
Absolutely right. This has been a public service announcement from Jamie and Adam at MythBusters.